Okay, Perkei, Mishnah, Ches. Zog the Perkei Avos. Rabbi Yonah ben Zakkai kiba mehil mishamai. Rabbi Yonah ben Zakkai was mechal from hill and mishamai. Boy Omer he would say, Im lamada the Torah harbe, al tachzik toiv l'atzmacha. Ki lakach no yitzartiv. A person learns a lot of Torah. He shouldn't be machzik toiv to himself. He shouldn't feel that he's accomplished and he's completing his tafkid in life, and he shouldn't have a very high sense of himself. Why? That's why one was created, to learn Torah. So a person breathes every day. Is that like a chashav v'zach? A person breathes and he eats. Like, oh, you were created. This is how we get to stay alive. Zok Rabbeinu Yonah. This is why one was created. V'adayin ata b'rosh. Wherever a person is in his learning, he's at the beginning. A Jew never progresses past the beginning when it comes to his obligation of learning. When is he going to reach the middle of what's expected of him? When is he going to reach the end? Torah is infinite. It's impossible, says the Rabbeinu Yonah, to reach the end of the Torah. And our job is to get as close as we can. How far are we away from the end? How can he be machzik toiv to himself? He hasn't done 1/1000th of what he has to do. So how can a person feel accomplished? You're given a project and you're 0.1%, if you're lucky. And that's Rabbeinu Yonah talking times the Rishonim, that they were 1/1000th way. Us, what are we going to say? There was a chasana. The Baal Shem Tov was at. And the minig in chasana is you have a badchan, someone who makes leitzonis in simchas chas v'kala. We learned yesterday it's not matir b'Gadisha necessarily, but I guess it is matir certain hanhagas you normally wouldn't do. You're not going to make fun or make leitzonis with a gadol b'Yisrael, but at chasana simchas chas v'kala will do that, right? Okay. So the badchan was not going anywhere near the Baal Shem Tov. He wasn't going to the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov said, no, it's a chasana. Please, let's have some badchanas with regard to me. I'm not, don't hold me so high.
What's a hasana?
A wedding, at a wedding. So the badchan said, gets up and he says, there's really no significant difference between myself and the Baal Shem Tov. We're more or less the same. Why? Because I know the Torah is this big, and I know like malish 0.001%. And the Baal Shem Tov, the Torah for him is also this big. He knows 0.001%. There's another 3 zeros by me and by him. But we both lacking 99.999%. So there's no difference between us. That was his joke. The Baal Shem Tov took that really seriously. And to him, it mamish was penetrated deep. But it's mamish what this mission is saying. And if you think in that perspective, that if you look at it from the whole, so even if I know much more than this person over here, but as far as objectively, how much do I know, considering the whole Torah, so it'll humble us.
It's infinite.
Now, it's not going to depress us, obviously. Right? If a person realizes he's a long trip to go. He's a long way from reaching perfection. It's not like, if it's not easy for me, I'm just going to fold up that's it. I'm going to close up shop and I'm not even going to try. We have to try as hard as we can. At the same time, having that humility to realize that if you think about it objectively, we're not fulfilling what we should be. There's always room to push, right? When you're training, there's always room to push more and more, and that's what motivates a person. So that's the first part of the Mishnah. Continues the Mishnah. Chamisha Talmidim Hayul Rabbi Yonah ben Zakkai. There were 5 Talmidim that Rabbi Yonah ben Zakkai had. Elohen, these are they: Rabbi Elazar ben Horkanus, Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya, Rabbi Yossi HaKohen, Rabbi Shimon ben Nisanel, Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch. Right? Those are the 5 Talmidim that Rabbi Yonah ben Zakkai had. And listen to this: Hu haya moine shivchan. He would count their shvach, their praises. He would give one praise for each Talmud. Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus bor sid she'enu ma'ad b'tipa. Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus was like a reinforced, there's a word for it in English, a pit that holds water, that's no water leaks out. Everything stays in the pit. Sid is like tar, pitch. You line it so it becomes waterproof. No water is going to come out. So the Torah, anything goes into his head, he doesn't forget anything. Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya, Ashrei Yoladtoi. Praiseworthy is the one who gave birth to him. We'll see what that means. Rabbi Yossi HaKohen is a chassid. That was his shvach, he was a chassid. Rabbi Shimon ben Nisanel Yirei Chet. He had the fear of sin. Rabbi Elazar ben Aruch K'ma'in ha'misgaber. He was like a natural spring. He was always giving forth water, always having chidushim. You tell him one thing, he tell you, from that one thing, I see 5 other things, and he was always being able to be machadish and Torah. Hu ha'ya omer, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai would say, Imiyu kol chachmei Yisrael b'kaf ma'oznaim. If we had a scale, we put all the chachmei Yisrael, all the Rabbanon, on one side of the scale, and Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus, that was the first one, that was the Bor Sid, she'enam abeti, but that was the one who doesn't forget anything. You put him on the kaf shnia, on the other side, so you imagine all the Gedolim on one side, Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus on the other side, machriya is kulam. He would balance out the entire scale. Right, so the simple understanding of the Mishnah would seem to indicate that that character trait, or that midah of bor sid she'enum abetipa, of always retaining one's knowledge, is the most chashuv of all the midas. We had yirah, fear of sin. We have praiseworthiness when we give birth to Sid. That means we have a chassid. We have im hayu kol chachmei Yisrael b'chachmei oznayim. Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus imayin. Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus was with them. Rabbi Eliezer b'kaf shnia. So you had on one kaf, you had all the Gedolim plus Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus. That was the Bor Sid She'enam Abetipa, doesn't forget anything. On one side of the scale, Rabbi Eliezer b'kaf shnia, Rabbi Eliezer ben Arach on the other side. He was the Ma'in HaMisgaber, the one that always coming through the Chidushim. Machriya is kulam, he would be Machriya all of them. He would even out the scale. So the Rabbeinu says it's not a machlokes. Abba Shah was adding on to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So the Pasha Pshat is that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is saying of all these midas, the most important ones have a photographic memory, not to forget anything one learns, and to be a Ma'in HaMisgaber. That's what it seems to be. We'll go through Ben Yonah and we'll see that's not how he learns. Okay, so it says the Ben Yonah like this. He says, Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkanus is a Bor Sid She'enam Abetipa. He's the one that doesn't forget anything. He never forgot one thing that he learned. Mohabor asher hisidu oisei the sid. You put sid to insulate it, and it's not ma'abetipa. Okay, Yeshua ben Chananya asher yalato. So he goes on to say that ashrei. When you say ashrei stam with no qualification afterwards, that means he excelled in all midas. Often you'll find, he goes through it, there's a midah prati, a specific character trait that comes after what ashrei. We translate ashrei as praiseworthy. If you say he's praiseworthy, so that means he excels in everything, as opposed to, he brings ashrei ish yireyes Hashem. Praiseworthy is the man who fears Hashem. That means he's praiseworthy only in that specific nekuda, in that specific character trait midah. So says the Ben Yonah, the Yeshua ben Chananya excelled in everything. Rashi brings down what's more famous understanding, which is praiseworthy is the one who gave birth to him. Why is that? Explains Rashi that his mother caused him to be a chacham. Now, obviously, he caused himself to be a chacham. He had free choice, but his mother did a lot to push him in that direction. During the duration of her pregnancy with him, what would she do? And it's a chiddush. It's different than what we do today. She would go to the Batei Medrash, they're in her city, and she would say, "B'vakasha mikem, please, bakshu rachamim al ha'ubar hazeh sheyeh chacham." Please daven for my son, he should be a chacham. Right, so often we go to Gedolim to get brachas. They give me a bracha. A bracha is different than davening. She would ask them to daven for her. Daven for my fetus, he should be a big Talmud Chacham. And other Mefarshim say that after he was born, she would leave his crib in the Beis Medrash, near the Beis Medrash. So when he was a little kid, we think that, what is a 1 day old, a 6-month-old, how do they interact with the world around them? There's nothing there. No, she'd keep the crib where he can hear the words of Torah in the Beis Medrash. That had a tremendous impact on him. So we see from the beginning the importance of keeping a child and ourselves in the proper environment. Don't think that, he doesn't see, he doesn't hear, she doesn't hear. From the beginning, one has to be careful. That's how the Rashi learns up. Ashrei Yolate means praiseworthy is one to give birth to him. Rabbi Yossi HaKohen is a chassid. The Zakter Ben Yonah, he did lefnim mishuras hadin. B'chol ma'asav. He always went beyond the letter of the law. We saw extensively in Mesilas Yesharim, one of the longest prakim, the longest parak. In Mesilas Yesharim is the parak on Chasidus. Chasidus means going lefnim mishuras hadin, not tit for tat. You push me, I push you back. You give me chesed, I give you chesed back. That's a tzaddik. But a chassid always sees the positive. He goes lefnim mishuras hadin. Just went to Gemara in Moed Katan yesterday, where there was a certain Talmud Chacham who did the wrong thing, something wrong in his life, and Hashem killed him, he died. So they tried to bring him into the Ma'ara of Chasidim. It was a burial place for the Chasidim. And a snake came by the entrance and wouldn't let him in. Gemara in Moed Katan. and then they brought him to the cave of the judges, of the Dayanim. He was able to get in. He was a Rasha, he did an Aveira. Why did they let him in? Dayanim also are tzaddikim. The judges also are tzaddikim. How can they let him in? Because when he did his Aveira, he went somewhere else where no one knew where he was, and there was no Chil Hashem. There is a concept, you see the Rishonim how they explain it, but if a person's going to do an Aveira, and he can't hold himself back, he should go to a place where no one's going to know who he is, and it won't be a Chil Hashem. They're not condoning doing Aveiras. We're not saying if you want to eat a cheeseburger, so go to Tallahassee and have a cheeseburger there, go to Jacksonville and eat cheeseburgers there. We're saying that in a certain level, if a person feels he's going to do something, he has to be fine. So he wasn't such a Rasha. He, even in his moment of desire, he was able to follow the Torah on some level. So we see from the Gemara, the Hasidim are on a higher level than the Dayanim. How do we understand that? A Dayan, you're entrusting your life to him, you're entrusting your possessions, your money to him. How can we say that the Dayan is on a lower level than the Chassid? So before Shem explains from God who says this, that the Chassid always sees people in a positive light. They always will Lefnim Mishura, they don't see anything negative in anyone. Everyone is positive. Only themselves they see negative. And they work on themselves. Everyone else is positive, right? But the Dayanim, they're paid to see the negative. I mean, they have to figure out, was this person Machal Shabbos, b'mezid, premeditatedly, or wasn't he? Right? Is Reuven a thief? Is he a Ganim? Is he not? So their job, their occupation is Machayev them, obligates them to see the negative. So Mimela, they're not able to be Chasidim on the same level. So a Chassid is the highest level. So that's the Yossi HaKohen. Yossi HaKohen was a Chassid. Shimon ben Nesan was Yirei Chet. What did he do? What does Yirei Chet do? He makes Siyagim Laharchak Atzim in Averis. He makes fences to keep himself away from Averis. He was very machmir on certain things he felt that he had a connection to an Averis he might violate. He'd always make a fence to keep himself away. Boaz ben Aruch was a man of Misgaber. He was Mefupal Harbe Bal Svara. He was Mechadish in Torah. So it's interesting, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, this is something that's a challenge today, his Talmidim weren't all the same. Right? They weren't all the Lamdanim who were like asking the big kashas in Shiur. He didn't train his Talmidim to all excel in the same Nakuda. And he didn't view his Talmidim as being, okay, my job is to make each one of them the next Rosh Hashiva. Right? When he was Mechanech his Talmidim, Chanoich l'na'ar al pi darkoi, which means you have to raise your child, train your child or your student according to his way. And he was able to see in each Talmud what his special character trait was. And we see also from the vantage point of his Talmidim that each person has to find out what speaks to him in Yiddishkeit and be able to show with that one trait. As we'll see next week in the next Mishnah, each one picks a certain way to live life. What's the derech yeshara that a person should choose? Each one has a different mahalach. So even though we keep all 613, we all keep Shulchan Aruch, but Rabbi Yossi HaKohen, Yiras HaChet wasn't his avodah. Right? Being Mefulpa B'chacham wasn't his avodah. Rabbi Yossi, Chasidus was his avodah. Each one of these Tanaim had a certain avodah, a certain connection they had. Certain people, they're very machmir halacha. Other people are big masmidim. Some people are bali chesed. It's a good thing. A person has to find that area of Yiddishkeit that speaks to him or her, and then go with that. But we're not meant to all be the same. That being said, Rosh Hashiva always says, Tzvi Kaplan, that Reb Chaim Soloveitchik had 4 Talmidim. They were very, very different. Reb Shimon Shtok, Reb Chanan Vassman, Reb Baruch Ber, the Brisker Rav. Don't think those 4. Reb Chanan, Reb Shimon, Reb Baruch Ber, the Brisker Rav. Those 4. Now, if you look at their Torah they wrote, it's all very, very different. All very different. But in yeshiva, he says, you couldn't tell them apart. Because there's a stage in life where a person's a makabel. He's accepting, he's being taught, he's being mechunach. But then they all learn the same way. Once they received a derech, a mahalach and limud, a way to learn, then they each took that in their own way. But we can't be self-made from the first day. There's a training period. In basic training, in the army, everyone's the same. And then a person can decide, in medical school, you start off against the same. And then you decide where you want to go. Same thing in Avodas Hashem. When a person's training, he's the same as everyone else. And then when he has enough ideas, he starts finding his own mahalach in life.
Sure.